Let's start off with the obvious. I am not an electrician, I am not an inverter expert, and I'm not a power guy. But what I am is a South African that regularly spars with Eskom. And I don't mean spars in you're going to spar, I mean spars in, sparring in a ring. Pew pew. Now to that note, I'm going to be reviewing the Gizzu Hero Pro 512 just like any other South African that is trying to keep their lights on. Well, PC on. And this is what it looks like. Don't worry about that, it actually got mauled by cows, but that's a story for another day, which you guys will see at a later stage. Fun inter-video game, try say Gizzu Hero Core 512Wh UPS power station really fast. Gizzu Hero Core 512Wh UPS power station. When looking at a product like this, for simplicity's sake, I look at the most important things. Wattage hours and wattage output, i.e. what can it power and for how long. There are other important aspects that you do need to consider, but we will cover these as the video goes on. Note that I'm not going to go into the more technical details like amplitude, voltages, etc. because it's kind of like me giving you a manicure. It's not going to look good for either of us. What we are going to do is look through the features and base design, what's in the box, the base specs, as well as the runtime calculator so that you can estimate what it can power and for how long. Let's start off with looking at the features and the design. The first and most important feature is that it's 512 watt hours with an 800 watt power output. It has LiFePO4 or lithium iron phosphate battery technology. Basically, this just means that it's going to last longer than, call it, traditional lead acid batteries. Very importantly, it has UPS switchover functionality with a 10 millisecond switch time. This is extremely important for South Africans using it in their homes, as if it's constantly being used on battery, it would lessen the life of the product, as it's constantly consuming cycles. So what this does, it will use main power when the power is on and only go to the backup power or the actual cells when the power is off, increasing its life. One of the most important features is the charge time. Now Gizzu says it takes about 2 hours to charge, but when I had it flat and I recharged it, it actually took about an hour and a half in order to recharge. Also importantly, on the lithium iron phosphate cells, they have 3,500 cycles. Looking at the front left, we have our DC output, the top being the car charger type output with a 12 volt 10 amperature. And below that, the standard 12 volt 10 amperature output, which you will need to get a cable for. And at the bottom, a toggle switch to turn it on and off. Looking at the middle towards the bottom, we have two QC 3.0 or Quick Charge 3.0. Those are on standard USB. And beneath that, we have three USB-Cs, PD power delivery. We have 220 watts and 100 watt. We also have the ability to turn that on or off, i.e. if you want to be able to have the unit on but not charge through those ports, you can turn those ports on or off. Then we have the display screen, which is really convenient because it also shows you what's going on, whether the DC is on or off, whether USB is on or off, whether the light's on or off, where the charge is, how much it's outputting, how much it's inputting, and the runtime left. On the right, we have the big power button, which is quite obvious, and we do have a light underneath that, which can have a constant light, as well as SOS. So if you don't know what SOS is, I'll show you in a picture by using SOS, but it's 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots. So if you ever are in trouble and you don't know how to do SOS, your Gizzu can do it for you. On the right hand side, we have our main South African plug with the ability to turn that on and off. On the left hand side, we have the AC on or off button, but underneath the flap, we have an XT60 input port, which is for your solar panels, as well as your main AC or alternating current input where you would charge the unit. When I took it out the box for the first time, it was nice, simple and straightforward. From the moment I unboxed it and started using it, it was pretty straightforward on how to use it and all the buttons made sense. I was easily able to discover what goes where and how I can best utilize this unit. The design overall is also very rugged and strong, and it does have a carry handle, so if you are taking this anywhere, it is a perfect little companion, especially for traveling content creators. Like me, I did take this to a farm where I did need to charge my devices. So it does serve multiple purposes in being able to be used at a home in a permanent location, as well as being out and about. Next, what's in the box? In the box, the first thing that you'll get is obviously the Gizzu Hero Core 512, the actual power station, an AC charging cable, a cigarette lighter to Anderson plug so that you're able to charge it in your car, and you will also get a surge protector, which is not listed on their site, but they do come with free surge protectors. Now the base specs. The specs for those who do need to know are on the website, but the most important ones are obviously the capacity, which is 512 watt hours. It is a pure sine wave inverter. It does have USB mode. The lifespan is 3,500 cycles and it weighs about 6,500 grams. Also on the website, on the product listing at the bottom, you will see the estimated run times and they give you indications. Basically, you're supposed to take the wattage consumption divided by the watt hours and it'll give you an indication on time. Gizzu actually underdoes theirs, and I think this is to underpromise and overdeliver. On the website's also something really cool called the runtime calculator. Now what this does is basically you click on anything that you want to power. So for instance, let's say that we want to power a electric frying pan and we click on there, it'll give you the products that are applicable. Unfortunately, the Gizzu Hero Core won't be able to do that because it is 800 watts. Yes, it does go up to 1,600, but that is for max surge. So a really cool feature for you to discover what you're able to power and for how long. We're going to move on to the conclusion. Now this product retails for around about 7,499 all the way up to 8,499 depending on where you're shopping. But a conclusion is not a conclusion unless you're drawing a comparison between competitor products. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. The most competitive products that I found that I could benchmark this against was the EcoFlow River 2 Max and the Bluetti EB55. The list price of the Gizzu is 8,999, the EcoFlow is 12,999, and the Bluetti is 8,849. In the grand scheme of things, list prices don't really mean much. It's what you're actually paying. And for the Gizzu, you're paying between 7,499 and 8,499 depending where you're shopping. On Takealot, it's 7,499 at the moment. So you do need to make sure that you are monitoring pricing all the time. The EcoFlow River 2 Max comes in at 7,999 and the Bluetti comes in at 7,999 as well. The wattage hours for the Gizzu and the EcoFlow are identical, but the Bluetti gives a little bit more at 537. Smart control, and what I mean by smart control is the ability to control this with your cell phone or a smart device, which is really cool, not necessarily needed, but still a cool feature. The Gizzu doesn't have this, the EcoFlow does through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and I couldn't find any information on the Bluetti, so I'm going to call that a no or unknown. The base wattage for the Gizzu is 800 watts, for the EcoFlow River 2 Max is 500 watts, and for the Bluetti is 700 watts. So the Gizzu edging out the lead there. The surge wattage for the EcoFlow is 1,600 watts, for the EcoFlow is 1,000 watts, and for the Bluetti is 1,400 watts. Note that you shouldn't really be shopping on surge because surge is generally double the base wattage, so Gizzu having the most there means that it has the most protection in the case of a surge. All three batteries are the same in Life PO4. Onto warranty, for Gizzu is 2 years, for EcoFlow is 5 years, and for the Bluetti is 2 years. Now, while this is important, something that is more important is the cycles, because when these batteries cycle, that actually determines their life. For the Gizzu, it's 3,500 cycles, for the EcoFlow is 3,000 cycles, and for the Bluetti is 2,500 cycles. All three do have the ability to add solar panels. The Gizzu and the EcoFlow both have bypass or EPS, while the Bluetti does not. I do stand to correction there, but I couldn't find anything to prove otherwise. All three are pure sine wave. The charge time for the Gizzu is reported at 2 hours, but I actually found it to be 1.5, so I put 1.5 there. The EcoFlow is reported to be 1 and the Bluetti is 3. Lastly, add-ons, the Gizzu comes with a free voltage protector valued at about 200 Rand, whereas I didn't see anything for the EcoFlow and the Bluetti. For me, I think it's pretty obvious that the Gizzu ekes out a lead in the side-by-side comparison, but again, it's based on price. So always make sure that you're looking at the price and comparing the benefits to the price. The actual conclusion depends on how much you've been listening. The point of this video is to show you what to look out for and for you to be able to make an informed decision as to whether this product will serve your needs. So I always ask myself the question, does this make sense for me? And the answer is yes and no. The yes is because when I was traveling, it was a real blessing to be able to charge my cameras and equipment because I was on a farm and the power delivery was not as consistent or as reliable. So the ability to charge that all there was really, really great, and I charged all my equipment. The no is because it's not able to put out the wattage in order to power my main PC at home. That doesn't mean that it doesn't have merit at home because I charge my laptop. It's just because my main PC is a monster that sometimes pulls up to 1,000 watts. Yes, 1,000 watts for a PC, I know it's insane. But otherwise, I really enjoyed reviewing this product, and I really think that it has a lot of merit, especially for the fact that it does have bypass and you are going to get a lot of longevity out of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers. Goodbye.